Good Thursday morning, 8-3, Mr. Brown here. Thursday morning, May 14th. As you well know, today by 8 o'clock, your May 13 and 14 night chapter 3 reading questions and writing assignments are due. I'm going to take the time to go over chapter 3 with you, a little bit of analysis in the first 3 questions in our discussion questions. So I'm going to just jump right in. So what you might want to do is uh, open up your PDF night and I go to chapter 3, which I believe is around page 28, 29. We're going to go over it now and open up your discussion questions as well. So you might want to do that now as we are going to continue with that. Okay? All right, let me open up. Of course, we have our book here. I'm going to go to page 29. Let's see where we're at here. Okay, page 29. Okay, and that begins, page 29 begins our chapter 3. I'm going to go up to page 28 here. You might remember that they were in a wagon being transported to the camp. Miss Schachter had her vision, and they finally get there. They smell burning flesh. Things are burning. It turns out Miss Schachter was right. A bit of foreshadowing about her vision of flames. And then we begin chapter 3. Okay, so I've got our questions here open. I'm hoping you've read already. And our first question was, this is our reading questions in the May 13, 14 night chapter 3 folder. Okay, and of course we had directions, answer each question in complete sentences. Be sure to cite the text evidence and explain the evidence. Okay, so number 1, right out of the gate, what does Ellie say they left on the train in addition to their cherished objects? And what does this mean? Before we answer that, you might remember in chapter 2 they were told that they would be shot if they didn't hand over watches, jewelry, etc., etc. So that's their cherished objects. So if we go to the text, this chapter 3 on page 29 here starts out with just that. The beloved objects that we carried with us from place to place were now left behind in the wagon, and with them, finally, our illusions. Okay, so if we go back to our question, it says, what, in addition to the cherished objects, what else did they leave on the train? We could answer it this way. Ellie says he left his illusions as well as his belongings. Okay, the text states, and I'm quoting from the text, the beloved objects that we had carried with us from place to place were now left behind in the wagon, and with them, finally, our illusions. Okay, so I've quoted right from the text. If I look up the word illusions definition, you'll find that illusion means like sort of um, uh, misconception, delusions. You can see some synonyms there. Okay, an impression. Okay, so we could go back to our answer. Now he's saying we left our objects, but we also left our illusions. So what does he mean by that? Okay, so if we continue with the answer, this means that Ellie believes they not only left their objects like watches and jewelry, but also any idea they thought they would be safe and the belief they are not in danger. Okay, excuse the, let's always fix grammatical errors. They realize things are real. Okay, so um, if you go back to Miss Schachter, her vision, they think, oh no, she's just seeing things, but now he's realizing that no, they could be in danger. So he's saying they left their illusions with them as well as their objects. The idea that, oh, things were going to be all right. Now he realizes that things are very, very real and very, very dangerous. Okay, so that's the way we can answer that one. Ellie says he left his illusions as well as his belongings. The text states the beloved objects that we had carried with us from place to place were now left behind in the wagon, and with them, finally, our illusion. This means that Ellie believes they not only left their objects like watches and jewelry, but also any idea, any conception that they thought they would be safe in their belief, and the belief they are not in danger. They realize things are real. So illusion, the idea of like appearance, the appearance that things were safe, okay? The false idea that they were going to be safe. Okay, let's move on to number 2. Okay, why are Ellie and his father told to lie about their ages? Okay, it seems like a simple question, but there's going to be some inferencing going on, because if we go back to our text, okay, we go down and we know that there's a point where it says here, if you can read where it starts, the man interrogating me was an inmate. I could not see his face, but his voice was weary and warm. He'd asked him, "Hey kid, how old are you?" 15. "No, you're 18. "But I'm not," I said. "I'm 15. Fool, listen to what I say." Then he asked my father, who answered, "I'm 50. "No," the man now sounded angry. "Not 50, you're 40. Do you hear? 18 and 40. He disappeared into the darkness. Another inmate appeared, unleashing a stream of invective. "Why have you come here?" Tell me why. Someone dared to reply. "What do you think, that we came here of our own free will? That we asked to come here?" The other seemed ready to kill him. "Shut up, you moron, or I'll tear you to pieces. You should have hanged yourselves rather than come here. Didn't you know what was in store for you here in Auschwitz? You didn't know in 1944?" Okay, so if we go back to our question, we can assume, we can infer that Ellie and his father, I'm going right to the answer here. Ellie and his father are told by a prisoner to lie about their age, because if it is believed they are younger, they will not kill them. In the text, the prisoner says, "Don't you understand anything? Burn to cinder, turn to ashes." Okay, so if we go down to the text, he asks us, "The flames, do you see them over there? That's where they will take you. Over there, there will be your grave. You still don't understand. Don't you understand anything? You will be burned to a cinder, turned to ashes." Okay, so later on we'll find out that when they give their age, uh, down here, "In no time I stood before him. Your age? I'm 18. In good health? Yes. Your profession? Tell him that I was a student. Farmer," I heard myself saying. This conversation lasted no more than a few seconds. It seemed like an eternity. The baton pointed to the left. I took half a step forward. Uh, the baton once more moved to the left for his father. A weight lifted from my heart. Okay, so we can go back to our question, and again, we can infer from that Ellie and his father are told by a prisoner to lie about their age, because it's believed they are younger. If they are younger, they will not kill them. In the text, the prisoner says, "Don't you understand anything? Burn to cinder, turn to ashes." This shows the prisoner knows if they are too old, they will be murdered by the SS officers. Okay, so there's some inferencing involved. If you go down a little more, when they do lie about their age, you see that there's a relief, because they've been moved to the left, where they will just go to work and not be killed. So the inmate warning them was correct. Okay, so there's some inferencing there. So we have to really read between the lines. And this is where you've got to understand a story, and certainly its tone. Okay, we talked about tone in class. Okay, uh, let's go to number 3 here. Okay, so number 3 asks, what do the young people consider doing as they are being led away from the trains? What do the elders say to stop them? Okay, if we go to the text, go back up a little bit here. Okay. "I heard whispers around me," Ellie says. "We must do something. We can't let them kill us like that, like cattle in the slaughterhouses." Okay, there were among us a few tough young men. Okay, there's the word young there. Okay, and it asks, what do the younger people do? "They actually had knives and were urging us to attack the armed guards. One of them was muttering, 'Let the world learn about the existence of Auschwitz. Let everybody find out about it while they still have a chance to escape.' But the older men begged their sons not to be foolish." So the idea of younger men, we have in our question here, the young people. So that points to that. So we can say the younger people consider fighting against the officers holding them. In the text, a young man says, and we just read this, quote, "We can't let them kill us like that, like cattle in a slaughterhouse. We must revolt." Okay, and what does revolt mean? It means to rebel against, okay, to fight against. And we know in the text, just below that, But the older men, okay, contrasted with the younger men, the older men beg their sons not to be foolish. We mustn't give up hope. Okay, so we can continue on. However, because there's two parts to this question, the elders stopped them by telling them not to be foolish. The text says the winds of revolt died down. Okay, so that idea of the young men wanting to revolt, to fight against them, but the older men telling them, take it easy, and then the wind of revolt died down and they didn't do anything. All right, so we've got a two-part question there, and we've answered it with a couple of text citations. Number 4, how is the infamous Dr. Mengele described? Okay, so if we go down to our text here, okay, right just below that, we have the winds of revolt died down. We actually quoted from that. We continued to walk until we came to a crossroads. Standing in the middle of it was, though I didn't know it then, Dr. Mengele, the notorious Dr. Mengele. He looked like the typical SS officer, a cruel though not unintelligent face, complete with monocle. Okay, so how is he described? Well, that's easy. We can just say something as simple as Dr. Mengele is described as notorious. And then I'm going to quote from how he's described right after that. He looked like the typical SS officer, a cruel though not unintelligent face. The text states he looked like a typical SS officer, a cruel though not unintelligent face. So we can assume that he's intelligent, but what does it mean by notorious? Okay, let's look up the word notorious, and that will help us with our explanation of Dr. Mengele. Okay, famous or well known, typically for a bad quality or deed. So we know that he can be cruel, and notorious means that he's known for being cruel. So we can just finish up our question by saying he is notorious, it is implied he is well known for his cruel behavior. So we've got a pretty good idea of Dr. Mengele, who, by the way, was actually an actual person known for this notorious cruel behavior in history. Okay, so that's 1 through 4 that we've answered. Okay, going on, if you continue on from Dr. Mengele here, page 31, starting on page 32, we can start answering the remaining questions. Why does Ellie have trouble believing that people could really burn other human beings? Ellie says he felt revolt rise in him for the first time. There's that word revolt again. What is it exactly that he's thinking? In what ways does Ellie say he and his father have changed? What is the sign posted over the gates of Auschwitz? What is ironic about this? Remember the irony. All right, we've learned about dramatic irony, situational irony, when the opposite of what you expect happens. Who is Stein and what lie does Ellie tell him and why? And of course, at number 10, while Ellie says he doesn't deny God's existence, what does he begin to doubt? Okay, you can find all these from 31 to page 46. Okay, number 8, just one last time. Ironic. Okay, so the opposite of what you're expecting happening. You might remember in our poem Ozymandias, there was the statue that said, "Look on all my works and despair. Be afraid of everything that I have here." But you'll remember that it was a desert, so it was ironic that it was a desert. So there's a sign posted in Auschwitz. What is ironic that way about the sign? Okay. Good luck, guys. I hope this helps. Please reach out to me. Remember, this is due today, May 14th. Keep doing a good job. All right. Thank you.